Welcome everyone. This is your Hanyo, and I want to kind of briefly talk about this episode because I haven't got a chance to do this all week. I've been very, very busy and tired out from basically everything. It's a story that I can't really tell you, at least not right now. Um, but I do want to do this real quick. I was not about to do it. I was just about to say F it and call it quits. And that's not a joke. I was really about to call quits to everything. The videos, the streaming. I was about to say goodbye bye to all of it for for a minute now. I've been preparing the last few days. Had a little letter to send out and everything. But then I saw like out to hundred subscribers, and that might not be a big milestone compared to some creators or whatever, but hey, just seeing the number made me feel energized, made me feel special, or no, should I use the word special? It made me feel like, okay, I'm gonna get this one big shot. Because I wasn't gonna like graduate or anything. I wasn't gonna go away forever. I was gonna go away for a couple months at least. A couple months for me just to relax, focus on other things, and try to get some projects done without all the extra stress. I think I'm still gonna do that though, but I want to do. I want February to be like one big special streaming month. I want to get a lot of streams, a lot of videos done in February, and then through March and April, I think I'm going to take a bit of a break, or at least cut things down a lot in terms of streaming and doing videos, just to focus on bigger projects and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you all for the at least for the 100 subscribers. And ask it, like I said, I know it's not technically a big number by YouTube standards, but it makes me feel special. It makes me feel happy. But no, it doesn't make you feel happy. Mayfair Witches, Season 2, Episode 4. So we're still almost done with the season. Halfway done with with Season 2. What happened in this episode? Well, like all the other episodes, we were kind of split between our characters. So let's follow good old Cyprian. Now, Cyprian he's having a bit of a moment because he can't find Lasher. He goes to this underground basement at the Talamasca. He wants to find Lasher. Look through the cells. Lasher's not there, but we do get some weird shots from other monsters. We see a ghost. We see a witch and a vampire, which is which is sticking to the Anne Rice lore of these being basically the only supernatural creatures in the world. And well, at least what they pay for. I know most I think all Anne Rice books kind of connect to each other in some ways. So there should be werewolves and mummies and other things, but AMC only paid for the Vampire Chronicles and the Mayfair Witches, so if we're not going to see a Ramses the Damned, which is such a disappointment. I'd rather have a Ramses the Damned TV show than give me the Talamasca TV show. Go read Ramses the Damned. It's a great book. But Cyprian, he gets a little gang together. They go to find Albert's car, and he finds it's been cleared out. Like there's Lasher's not there, nobody's there. The car has been erased for all psychic memories. He can't read anything, but he does get one little note. He finds a bit of Lasher's blood, and he can tell that Albert took Lasher somewhere. He doesn't know where though. Now, well, let's go back to the witches. So Rowan is woken up by Moira, telling her, "Hey, ho, get your stuff together and get my sister and Jojo out of this weird little pocket dimension that you created." But since Lasher's not there, Rowan isn't strong enough because we know that the farther away Lasher is, her powers get weaker, and if correct, Lasher is currently not even in America, so her extra Juju, whatever, her extra mana ain't here anymore. And she's like, "Hey Daphne, figure this out. Try to figure out what's going on. Well, I'm gonna go talk to my ex and get him to leave us alone because he's gonna keep snooping and snooping." And we actually do get a flashback with Rowan and Lark, like before season 1. I guess like a couple years before season 1, because I think they said they were dating 6 years ago in the last year episode. And it's just like, oh, he didn't. He went. What am I looking for? So what I'm looking for. Applied for a job in another state. Didn't tell her, and they broke up. Which, okay, cool. We knew they had trust issues, but I feel like the scene didn't really do anything. At least not for me. Like, I didn't really learn more about him. I didn't really learn about how they were together as a couple. Like, maybe he brought out a part of Rowan that we never seen before. Maybe she makes him more adventurous, more determined. We didn't see any of that. So, as far as I can tell, this was a pointless scene and should have been removed. But yeah, she meets at his hotel room. They have, is it, I'm guessing, breakfast. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm not watching this episode again. But yeah, they start talking, and eventually Rowan has to leave because the house is falling apart. Yeah, Daphne, not Daphne, Mona Moira is trying to contact Daphne and JoJo. All of a sudden, the lights start flickering and the roof starts falling down. Cortland, in the little room he's trapped in, the roof starts falling down on him too. So Rowan ditches out of there. Not before Lark takes a bit of her DNA she left on a teacup, which comes with our episode. The title, Double Helix. Yeah, Rowan gets there. Turns out the house is acting weird. It's basically falling apart. It's decaying. And there's guessing maybe because the Lasher's no longer here, which is not a thing in the books. At least not book 1 and 2. Maybe it's something from book 3, which I started reading then stopped. I'll start reading again tomorrow. But yeah, but I'm not sure what they're trying to imply here. Maybe they'll come with something interesting. Maybe they'll go to something interesting later. I don't know. But yeah, that's when they call up Cyprian. He's like, "Hey, I love to help you, but I physically can't. Lasher's not even in the country probably." And that's when he goes to Albert's office. He's still snooping around in there, and he finds a bottle with his name on it. Basically, Albert apologizing, like, "Hey, sorry I kind of had to throw you under the bus to get my plan to work out, but it's all cool. I'll throw a good word in for you," which means nothing. And while he's snooping through the fireplace, he finds one little piece of paper with the word Tautos on it. Now I'll get back to Tautos, but that's when other Amsterdam members of the Talamasca, the mother house, show up, and they're like, "Yeah, we think you're helping We think we're helping Alistair, your boss, or his name is, I forgot." And like, we're gonna take you in. Yeah, we don't believe a thing you're saying. You're gonna come with us. And they put like this weird, um, what's the word, handcuff on him. And I'm thinking like, oh, maybe the handcuff is something to restrain his powers, kind of like those black anti-magic handcuffs in Once Upon a Time. But I think I saw him using his powers later in the episode. But at least it was implied he was. And you know what? I can't remember. I'm not gonna go watch it again. All this did is make me want to rewatch Once Upon a Time. But as they are, we're gonna switch back to Rowan and Moira. They go to Dolly Jean's house because they want to get answers from her, and they see the phonograph. Now, we've been seeing the phonograph throughout the season. It's the phonograph that belonged to Julian Mayfair. And that is a big thing from the book. His phonograph is how to contact his spirit. Cortland tells them that they can talk to Julian by using the phonograph. But when they go to Dollar Jean's house, they see her in kind of like in a trance, dancing to the phonograph. They get in there and they meet Evelyn. Now, so the woman Lasher attacked last episode, I didn't notice this, but her name was Evelyn. And that's actually a big name because we see in this scene where she helps pull Dolly Jean out of her mind out of the phonograph. She loses her power for a second and she turns old. Like old. She's Dolly Jean's older sister. So she is officially Ancient Evelyn from the books. Which awesome. I really did love Ancient Evelyn. I really love Ancient Evelyn from the book. I thought she was a very fun character. Like her little chapter. I'm not even. Why am I saying little? It's like the chapter is so freaking long, Anna Rice. You're a monster writing. I loved you. But her chapter where we learn all about her life and her past experiences, her relationship with Julian was so great, so fascinating. And I like that makeup they put on the actress to make her look all old. That is makeup, I'm not exactly sure. But right now she's just Ancient Elephant in name only. Only thing really similar to the character so far is that she's one of the oldest members of the Mayfair family, and she once upon a time had a relationship with Julian. That is the only thing really similar between her and her book counterpart. But yeah, her and Dolly Jean tell Rowan and Moira that yeah, if if anyone were to know the secrets of Lasher and the deals with the Talamasca, it would be Julian, and his soul's right there in the phonograph. So they're like, hey, let's jump in there real quick. They're like, no, you can't do this. It's going to be troublesome. Julian doesn't want you in there. So Moira's like, F this. I'm just going to mind read the thing and see what I can get. So when she touches the phonograph, she starts going to this weird, violent trance. And she starts screaming the word, Taltos, 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 Taltos. I thought she's actually saying a line directly from the book, but as far as I can tell, she isn't. It's just something made up from the show. And Rowan pulls her off the phonograph. She started having this violent seizure, and I do like the scene. It's actually really creepy, and that's one of my main complaints from season 1. The show, for technically being a horror show or horror adjacent, it's not scary in any way whatsoever. But for season 2, they really amped up the creepiness. Like, it is, I wouldn't call the show scary or horrifying, but it does have a lot of darker moments. And I love how she kept saying Taltos, Taltos. Now, okay, so I think it's a good time to mention this for anyone who is a non-book reader. Taltos is. I'll keep it to myself right now. If someone's watching this that hasn't read the books, but Taltos will become very important. You'll get to know them or what it is probably next episode. Moira wakes up in the hospital. Her and Rowan, and they talk it out. Like, yeah, you gave birth to a demon who is also kind of your lover. He gave you superpowers. I kind of get it. I probably would have done the same if I was in your situation. But characters talking their things out, settling like this. Oh God, the writers are being smart. Maybe they have a headache. But yeah, they all come together like, yeah, Rowan needs to go into the phonograph and talk to Julian. So they bring it home. She takes a potion, and she kind of goes into this weird little trance effect. It's actually very weird, like almost sci-fi-ish. And she ends up in the phonograph, and she meets this much older looking version of Julian. So yeah, that was the end of the episode. So I'm kind of wondering how that's gonna work. Can Julian just shapeshift in his little realm, or maybe, because we saw in the episode 2 or episode 1 that inside Julian's mindscape there's like these many different rooms. I mean, that's just one part of his consciousness. That's like the bitter old man. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. It'd be nice to see if we see the softer side of this character, like from the books. So, like I said, Julian was a very complicated character in the novel. He wasn't a straight up villain, but he also wasn't a good person. But so far, the show's been portraying him as a villain, which I don't fully like. It kind of has the opposite with Lasher, because Lasher was a full-on monster in the novel, but here they make him more sympathetic, which I kind of am liking, just because how they're doing it, but I'd rather have more book-accurate Lasher than what they're trying to do. But yeah, that's basically everything that happened in the episode. We do have some small brief moments with Cortland talking to Millie's ghost. And those are some nice little scenes. You get a little insight of how they were raised and their mindset. But overall, this is just a waste of a time episode, I have to say, if I have to agree. I mean, we did move the plot along. And I did have some fun watching it. Maybe it wasn't a waste of time. I just don't like the sort of outcomes we're doing, like with the Lark character. Like, he is book accurate to an extent, but I just don't like the relationship they have with him and Rowan. The actors have no freaking chemistry, which is sad because they actually got Jack Hudson, is it Jack Hudson, the guy who plays Slasher? Him and Alexander Dark actually are working well off each other this season, which was one of my main complaints from season 1, that they have no freaking chemistry. Like, the characters felt so bad together in every scene that they shared. I mean, here though, whenever they have a scene together, it works really good. So I'm kind of sad that they don't have the same chemistry with the actor who plays Lark. And the whole thing with the house falling apart, while it is kind of interesting, they're only doing it because they need some urgent agency. We need to find Lasher really quickly. Even though we already have agency to finding Lasher, because Jojo and Daphne are trapped in a little thrall, or what much I'm gonna call it. So I don't know. This episode I did like it, but there's like little tweaks that could have made it a bit tiny better. Oh yeah. Also, with the whole thing with Lark, he does have a good. We do see him actually fulfilling his role in the book, which his role in the book was reading the genetic material Rowan sent to him, because Elijah did a lot to her. She sent him like everything everything that came out of her. I guess you could say everything that came out of her, all the miscarriages and all the associated fluids. uh yeah, she sent all that to him to do this genetic testing. And spoiler alert, if you haven't figured out yet, Lasher and the children that he has are not human. They are not human whatsoever. And by clarification, why did I say clarification? That doesn't go together at all. And by extension, Rowan is also not human. Yes, she's a witch, and witches are technically somewhat different from humans, but genetically speaking, Rowan acts like a human. She is genetically closer to what Lasher is. they should have been brought up in season 1, because this was a fact of all the inbreeding in the family. I need a drink. Because one of the things they cut out from season 1 was that the Mayfair family very, very super incestuous with each other. We have fathers getting with daughters, mothers getting with sons. We have grandfathers getting with their grandchildren, great grandchildren. It's a very weird family tree. They kind of loop with the branches looping back to each other, kind of like this weird little circle. And that all kind of due to Lasher's doing. Lasher was intentionally grooming the family to be okay with incest. He was pushing certain Mayfairs together to keep the witch DNA strong in the family and to make sure it wasn't bred out to get a very perfect witch like Rowan. Because Rowan is genetically accessible. Those are what I'm looking for. Genetically accessible, genetically compatible to give birth to a creature like Lasher and to give birth to his children and things like that. That's all I'll say. But yeah, Mayfair, which is season 2, episode 4. I don't know what to think of this episode. I enjoyed it, but I also didn't enjoy it. I was not saying it's not the weakest episode of the season. That's still last episode, but yeah, it's just getting a little too farther away from the books, and no, not in a good way for far as I'm concerned. Maybe I think they're taking elements from the third book, at least that I've kind of been hearing. Once again, I'm still early in the third book, so I'm not sure how much they're taking from the third book. But yeah, that's all we have for now. So I'm gonna go. I'm going to try to grind out several videos, which I probably won't be able to do, but I'm gonna try. Just because of that 100th awesome, that 100th awesome person that subscribed. So I'm gonna go and see you all later. Bye bye. Bye bye.